Hi YouTube! Right, I got home from work today and I'm meant to be packing for the Amsterdam road trip at the weekend. But with the new announcement from the government today on the 3p per mile tax, I must be the only EV driver in the country that thinks actually this has been a really good announcement considering what could have happened. Right, let's get into it. Okay, so a tiny bit of background first. In the UK, for all my US viewers, up until recently, up until the 1st of April 2025, EVs were completely free to tax. And then from the 1st of April 2025, the EV tax has come in of 190, 195 pounds, but also because they then get taxed, if the car was more than 40,000 pounds, you have to pay a luxury car tax as well. So that bumped it up to £620 for its first 5 years of its life, which is absolutely insane. If you had an EV prior to registering it in the 1st of April 2025, then you wouldn't have to pay the luxury car tax, but you'd still be paying the kind of 190, 195 number for the existence of its whole life. That larger number, you only pay the luxury one for the first 5 years of its life. So Rachel Reeves today, what's the date today? The 26th of November 2025. A good date in my head. People might not agree with me with this, but from an EV owner's point of view, we've been threatened with this 3p per mile. Well, not threatened. Look, EVs have to pay road tax as well. I completely agree with that because EVs use the road just as much as other cars, and the majority of EVs, as long as you're not talking SUVs and 4x4s, are heavier. So theoretically, they are doing more damage to the road. So yes, they have to pay road tax in some kind of way, shape or form. So we've had this 3p per mile thing thrown at us for a little while now. The non-EV owners, the ICE, the combustion engine cars are going, you're gonna have to pay 3p per mile and 3p per mile and all this kind of stuff. Well, it's not happening. I assumed that after today's budget, the way the media have been talking about it, and good old social media and all that kind of stuff and Reddit, that this 3p per mile would come in as soon as possible, which is usually the next financial year. So it'd be the 1st of April 2026. But it's not, so it doesn't exist. They've said it will be introduced in 2028. So that'll be the 1st of April 2028 or whenever it is 2028. That's 2.5 years away. That is a long time. Think about that length of time in the world of EVs and how things change and how governments change and how manifestos and ideas change. I personally believe they're going to have to reinvent the entire tax bracket for how they tax road cars and the damage that they do and recuperating money and looking after the roads. Because in the UK, for my foreign viewers, we don't particularly have many toll roads. So this is the only way they can really generate money. So it's a great thing today what's happened because the 3p a mile is not coming in. And personally, this is even though I'm not some financial, political expert, but ask yourself when the next general election is in the UK. It's in 2029. Any government, and I say this with a smile on my face, would have to be absolute lunatics to introduce, I know they've not introducing it because they've kind of introduced it now, but to tax a new demographic of people and a rapidly growing demographic of people, I just don't believe they're going to bring it in. I really don't believe, because to introduce a large tax on people, which is going to hit people in the wallets, and this is how Labour supposedly promise, even though obviously what we've seen today, they've gone against pretty much all of their manifesto tax threshold limits and all that kind of stuff. I just don't believe they'll do it. Imagine the government bringing in a tax against a huge group of people the year before a general election. Nah, I really don't think it's going to happen. So in the meantime, I believe this 3p per mile, people are still going to be using it against EV drivers. For one, it's not for 2.5 years when it could have been in a few months' time, which is great news. And I've just got a feeling it's not going to happen. I genuinely have a feeling it's not going to happen. I believe, as Rachel Reeves said today, that they are taxing people on how far they drive and how often they drive, not what they drive. So they can't then possibly bring in this tax for 3p per mile for battery electric vehicles and 1.5p for plug-in electric vehicles, because then she's almost going against what she's saying already if they're then not taxing internal combustion engines on how far they're driving. So who knows? That's my opinion. I genuinely believe it's a good day. This could have come in a few months' time. It could have come on the 1st of April 2026, and then we'd have all been paying between 250 to 400 pounds-ish extra a month. And if you've only just bought that EV, oh, I feel sorry for you, because you've kind of been lied to. You're probably already paying £620 a month, a year, sorry, to tax it. And now you'd be paying an extra 300 or so. You're almost on £1,000 a year for tax. You go back a couple of years and £1,000 a year for tax, even your latest kind of M4s, M3s, all the RS6s and things, they wouldn't even be paying £1,000 worth of tax. Absolutely wild. Also, another good thing. So it shows I've got a little bit more conviction in the current government when it comes to EVs now, because they've obviously also introduced, they're now calling it something different. Hang on, let me just check. Sorry, this is literally fresh off the press today. Expensive car supplement. So instead of a luxury car tax, they're calling it an ECS, Echo Charlie Sierra, an expensive car supplement, which for EVs is going to go up to £50,000 in rather than £40,000. And if you watch my previous video, which I'll put a little pop-up in there on how I afford my Tesla, I do have a little go at them then. And lo and behold, 4 days later after releasing that video, they've actually changed the luxury car tax. I can't believe it. I put it in that video. I put it in one of the Bank of England's calculators, and it came up with £53,000, I think, with inflation. But they've upped it to £50,000. Good, thank you. That means that at least now, if you're on the Tesla website, and I'm a Tesla fanboy, but not just Teslas, you'll have a whole new world of EVs available to you up to £50,000, and some really good ones in there up to £50,000, so that you won't have to pay this expensive car tax or the surcharge. So at least the first 5 years of its life, the tax, and then for the rest of its life, will only be that £190, which is good news. That's very, very good. Thinking in my world with the Teslas, that means you can go on the Tesla website right now, and a long range Tesla Model 3, as long as you're not clicking extra colors and interior colors and things like that, will be 49-ish. So therefore, obviously, that's therefore under £50,000. So £50,000 does open up a whole new ball game of EVs and being able to avoid that charge. Right, I turned the lights on. Yes, we're still in November if you haven't watched my previous video. Yes, the Christmas tree is already up. It does look absolutely gorgeous. I can control my wife in most ways. I like to think I wear the trousers, but there's certain things of the year when I kind of let her be her because of that. It does look stunning and it makes the room look absolutely lovely. But yeah, I apologize that it's up in November. Cool. Right, that's just a little video on my thoughts. So the EV world is probably blowing up right now in the UK. That tax at that 3p per mile is a bad thing. Just think about it this way. It hasn't happened yet. It's never happened yet. And they've said it's just going to happen in the future at some point. Things change. Just think about that ludicrous rule of that brands can't make any petrol or diesel only engines come 2030. It was just a wild thing from Theresa May to scaremonger people and to try and get a few votes, trying to do something new. This hasn't come in yet. It doesn't exist. So just relax, enjoy your EVs, and at least from, so I don't know if I said the date, at least from 1st of April 2026, which is when I thought this 3p was going to come in, then that surcharge is going up to £50,000 for the expensive car. So at least that does open up a whole new world of EVs available. And you don't have to go and buy your little Citroen Ami. Right, folks, I hope you agree with me or you don't agree with me, whatever, stick it in the comments down below. YouTube now is probably going to suggest you might watch this video. My lovely little moisturized face is going to pop up here. That's just my opinions. I think it's a good day for EV drivers in the UK. See you at the next one. Cheers.